This video is about replacing an RV faucet, and it's going to be quick and simple. I'm Eric Stark. I'm the host of the Smart RVer Podcast. So let's just jump right into this. Now, one thing, I would really appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe to our channel. And if there's a do-it-yourself RV maintenance and repair that you'd like me to do a video about, let me know in the comment section of this video, and I will respond to that. Before you disconnect any water lines, turn off the water pump or disconnect the RV from your water source if you're hooked up to city water or your house at a park, whatever it might be, so there's no water pressure in the RV. You want to do that so when you crack a water line, it don't go spraying everywhere. You got a big mess going on because you didn't turn off the water. Okay, so we need to do that first. So that's done, out of the way. Now, I do want to say as well, getting to a faucet is different in every RV. Sometimes they're very simple. You don't see a lot of different water lines floating around. Sometimes you do. Now, generally, bathroom faucets are easier than, let's say, a kitchen faucet. A little more difficult because sometimes there's more water lines around a kitchen faucet. And in your RV, you might see a mixture of water lines. You might see flexible water line like this with a fitting on the end. This is something where you can just cut the line, put fittings on it. Not the best for RVs. Or you might see something like this. Pre-made lines with fittings crimped on them. These are okay. They work much better than the other way. But you do have to have this longer collar here to fit on the faucet properly. And then you might have PEX lines. Something like this. Okay, so different colored PEX. It might be red, might be blue, might be white. But PEX line is good. We always like PEX. It's the best line in an RV, but sometimes it's just harder to run it and get it underneath kitchen sinks and bathroom sinks and so forth. But nonetheless, you're going to see some different water lines, and don't let it freak you out. You can do this. This is very simple. All right, so first off, we're going to start with a shower faucet. Now, every shower is different. Well, I shouldn't say every shower. RVs are different. And your shower might have it's going to have a faucet like this on it. And it's going to have the shower hose going to it. You might have a tub shower type faucet as well. It's the same principle. Now, some RVs, they have a plastic plate in the front here where there's some screws on it. You can pull that plate off and access the back of the faucet to get to the water lines. Some RVs, you're going to have to come around back and you're going to access the faucet from the closet or a room, whatever the back side of that shower is. Most of the time, there's an access plate there. You take off 4 screws, it's going to be a paneling or whatever that room is. If it's in a closet, it might be, the same paneling is in the closet. If there's not an access plate, you're going to have to make one. So you get a razor knife and you do it very carefully. You don't let that razor knife slip and cut paneling someplace else, especially if it's in a room. So take your time. Make sure you get the hole in the right spot. Measure it. Make sure you're good on that if you have to do that. Okay, now let's get into the faucets. A lot of this, how to get to the faucet, the access, all that. Like I said, RVs are different. So we're going to jump into the faucet, and it's really more about the seals and the connections and so forth. So your shower faucet is going to have this shower hose on it. Generally, it's going to have an end on it like this, I just did this for this video just so you can see basically one thing here. So we're going to disconnect that. And when we do, there's a black washer that just might fall out. You want to make sure you don't lose that washer. You should always have some of these on hand anyways to replace it. But if you don't have that washer, that line will leak when you put it all back together. Okay, so you just want to know that. All right, so the faucet is pretty basic. So here we have the faucet here. Now I should have turned these knobs this way first before I disconnected the water line. Otherwise, water will spray out here, but this will relieve the pressure. So you can put the water line back on, put your hand over it, and flip one of these levers down. That way the pressure is relieved. So any faucet, you'd want to do that before you take it off. Turn the faucet on. That way the water comes out, no pressure in those lines, right? And just leave it that way. Then you're going to go to the back side, and this one's fairly simple. Now I can reach it here. In this case, I'm going to shove a towel into the wall to catch any water that comes out of the line, which won't be much. It will dribble out. I take off the water line. There's going to be 2 of these water lines side by side. So they're just going to stay in the wall, and generally they don't fall off to the side. You might be aware of that, just they could fall that way. But they generally just stay there. Pretty straightforward. It'll probably be red and blue, maybe 2 whites. If they start to move on you, just mark one so you know which one's right, which one's left, or hot or cold, ever how you want to designate it. Not a bad idea. Do that on all faucets. So you take your water lines, they're going to be sitting in the wall. In this case, I took it off, I'm setting it down. And by the way, these elbows, these plastic elbows break quite a bit. So you might want to replace this fitting while you have it apart. If it has a clamp on it, you'll have to cut the clamp off and then pull the fitting out, put a new one in with a new clamp, and you're good to go. Usually. But that's the time to do it. Okay, so the back of the faucet is going to have 2 faucet nuts. And these are pretty easy to take off, so that's what they look like. So we got 2 of those guys. And so if you're working behind, this faucet, when you undo these nuts, could very well just fall out. So having somebody help you isn't a bad idea. So you take these nuts off, the faucet comes out, and that's it. And for reference, this faucet is 4-inch on center, from the center of this stem to this stem. 4 inches. That's a standard size for RV bathrooms, whether it's a tub, shower, bathroom sink, 4-inch on center. Pretty obvious as well. There's 2 sizes for RVs, 8-inch and 4-inch. Okay, so you would take a towel, wipe off the face of this, the shower, get it nice and clean. If there's any silicone, you'd scrape it off. Then you take your new faucet, and it's going to come with a plate like this. You make sure the plate's on there in the right direction, and you just do the same thing in reverse, right? Like I said, you might have to have somebody helping you with this. So I'm reaching over. I'm trying to make it look hard, but it's not. Okay, so you start your nuts, and you do both of them. Now I'm not going to do both of them for the sake of this video. Actually, it went right on there. So both of them are on there. I'm going to eyeball it. Looks pretty level. It's harder for me to tell, so I'd walk around the front and get it tight. I'd snug these washer nut or these faucet nuts down the rest of the way. Now, when you put your water lines back on, take your time. Don't push it on hard and start turning the nut. Make sure the nut is pulled forward on the fitting, which it doesn't move much, but you want the nut on the thread. You don't want the seal jammed up against the thread. And by the way, make sure your seal's in there. If it were to fall out or you lose it, have some spares of these. And you put it in the new one in the fitting. Always put a new one in if you use old fitting. If you put a new fitting in, it'll have a seal, but make sure that seal's there. But don't cram this on and just start turning it. You want to go slow so the threads start. I've never seen a faucet come new out of the box with a bad thread on it, and I've never seen one of these nuts come out of the box with a bad thread on it. When they get cross-thread, it's because we did it. So be careful. Take your time. You don't want to have to buy a new faucet because you cross-threaded it. And no store is going to say, oh yeah, the faucet was bad, and give you a new one for free. You're going to buy it, so be careful. So the fitting goes back on, the lines go on. Then after the lines are tight, you put on your shower hose again. You turn these off, or you can leave them on, go outside, turn on the water, and test the faucet. Make sure there's no leaks in the back. Pretty simple. Okay, now let's go on to the bathroom faucet. Or the sink faucet, I should say. It's the same thing, right? We turn these on, water comes out here, dribbles out. We have our towel, maybe a little pan, put it underneath the water lines in the kitchen or in the bathroom cabinet. Disconnect the water lines. So this one I have 2 water lines on. And this is a flare-it fitting on here that I put on just for showing that. And this is a Bestpex fitting with one of their clamps on there that you use channel locks on. It's a plastic clamp. These things are sweet. And these clamps work with the brass Bestpex fittings too. It has to be Bestpex. And the clamps, we have these on our website at sunpromfg.com. Or if you have questions about it, put it in the comments of this video. So these 2 water lines come off. These are both red. It might be red, might be blue, might be both blue, might be white. Just so you know, might be white, might be opaque. Depends on the water line. Could be a flex line, could be one of these, like I said in the other one. So that's it on the water lines and fittings. We're not going to discuss them anymore. And I have a video that I'll put a link to in this description about fittings, more in depth. So this is the same thing. You reach underneath the sink. Now I make it look easy. because there's no kitchen sink here. I mean, bathroom sink. But you'd be reaching under this way because the cabinet would be out here. The sink would be over here. So you'd be laying on the floor reaching up, right? A little harder to do sometimes. And sometimes bathrooms a little more cramped, makes it more difficult. So you take the faucet nuts off both sides, and you're just going to basically do the same thing as the shower. You do one faucet, it's all the same principle after that. And you make sure this plate goes on the new faucet, or the new plate goes on with the new faucet. You wipe your deck off here. Any silicone, any boogers, any toothpaste, clean all that out. You put it back down, put on your nuts, and tighten it up. And then you just make sure that it is square. Just want to get one started here. Because this faucet and these holes will move, you see. So you need to make sure that it's squared up against the sink or matches the sink. You got equal distances. Simple. See how easy this is? Now let's go to this guy here. This one's going to be a little bit different. And this one I know is going to bring some questions up. So it's the same principle. You got your water lines. Now this one has, okay, so this one, I had to look at it. So this one is an 8-inch center faucet. So I'm going to take this out of here. Oh, you got to let the water out. Psh. And this actually has a pull-out handle here, so it's a spray one. Pull-out spray. So there's another water line underneath here. I'll show you once I get it out. It's kind of unique. This one sometimes throws people off. So we unscrew the faucet washers. Take them off the stems. All right. Now, you see, we got this long water line here. What is this for? Well, that's so you can pull out the sprayer, right? So that goes to the sprayer. And normally the sprayer will have a weight on it like so. I don't have it on this one just for this video. And this one's 8-inch center. 8-inch from here to here. So that's 8 inches. So you have 4-inch in the bathroom, 8-inch in the kitchen. So it's pretty easy to identify your faucet is what I'm getting at a store as well. So this water line, after you put it through the hole or the counter, you would connect it up, in this case, to the bottom of the faucet. There's a fitting right there. Hopefully you can see that. And that goes right on there. This is a kind of a finer thread. So it takes a little more finesse to get it on, but that's it. Don't strip it out. You got to be careful not to strip out threads. You can repair them a lot of times when they're plastic, but it's better to not have to repair it. That way you don't have to worry about the seal getting bad. So there you go. And sometimes doing it upside down in a kitchen sink is harder. And a kitchen sink sometimes is more difficult, depending on what's in that cabinet, how you can access it. And keep in mind, sometimes there's drawers that can come out. Slide out a drawer, get it out of the way. Maybe just getting the hand in from a different angle. Sometimes there's a panel on the side of a cabinet. You can access the back of the faucet. Makes it real easy. But take your time. Don't strip anything out. And by the way, when you're dealing with water lines, try not to bump other water lines. You don't want to start another leak someplace else because it happens. Fittings break. Ask any RV tech. All right, so this one is an 8-inch center one. So your kitchen faucet or your counter might be set up with maybe a faucet like this. It doesn't have a sprayer in it. But look at that. It goes in the same spot. Same principle. 8-inch on center from here to here. Now, let's go to this guy here. Now, your kitchen faucet might have something like this in it. More decorative. All right, so this one has a plate on it though. So if you have a deck or a counter that has 3 holes in it, or 2 holes, one here, or actually 3 holes, or even 2 holes. You got one here, and you don't have this center hole, but you want to go to something like this. You would create this center hole, you'd get a hole saw, drill out that hole, and you make that hole. Now, this faucet comes in a lot of RVs without this plate on it. So if it's built, when they build the RV and they put this faucet in, you're going to have 1 hole in the counter. That's it. So then when you put this guy back, you won't need this plate. I'm not going to take the plate off. It just takes too long to take it on and off. I mean, it's in a video. It's not really that long. So when you already have these holes, that's where this plate comes in. So that slides in there, and this hose gets hooked up to the faucet like I just showed you on that other one. Then you bring your hoses in, and they're all staggered in length, which makes it kind of cool. And by the way, these are 1/2-inch pipe thread. Residential faucets are not 1/2-inch pipe thread. This is 1/2-inch pipe thread. So if you go to the Jungle website to buy one for a house, it probably is not going to work. So make sure you get an RV one. Check out your local RV store. So they're staggered in length, so they go through the hole easier. Boom. And now look, the plate covers up the 2 holes. You can't totally see that. The holes aren't there anymore, right? Disappeared. Now you see the holes, and now you don't, right? Magic trick. So then you put your faucet in, you get her spun around in the right spot. You hook up your water lines to the existing water lines, and then this guy gets hooked up underneath, just like that other one did. And again, now this one's both ends are metal threads, or fittings are metal, so it goes on, no cross threading there, and then that's it. And this would have the weight on it as well, because this one pulls out right here. All right, pretty cool, right? So this is pretty simple stuff. Putting a faucet in an RV is not that hard. It's just the water lines can be a little intimidating. Don't let them freak you out. Find which ones go to your faucet. And by the way, if you take them off, if you're worried about them flipping around, especially in the kitchen, mark which one's hot and cold with a piece of tape. Write on it, whatever you want to do. Oh, and by the way, I didn't show you this nut. Kind of important, but it would slide up underneath the faucet. I'm not going to do it here. Let's see here. Oops, going the wrong way on that. Let's take this guy out of here. It's like one of these Bob Ross paintings, right? Takes forever, nice and slow. And gee, this is the mountain scene. All right, so the nut screws onto the thread right here underneath the deck. And on this nut, there's 2 Phillips head screws. You would tighten them down with either a screwdriver, like here we use the Pickwick one. We sell these, has a bit load just for RVs. Tighten it down, or you can maybe use your cordless drill, whatever you got. And by the way, typically you just need a few tools, some channel lock type pliers, a Phillips head screwdriver, maybe some square tip bits, depending on how you have to access the faucet, but it's real simple. If you have to cut water lines, cut them nice and square. Don't cut them at an angle. Square. Like I said, I'll put a link to that video we have about water fittings and such in the description of this video. So that's it, everybody. RV water faucets, really simple. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. And by the way, you can call me at Highway 93 RV. No problem taking phone calls. Ever how you want to get a hold of me, not an issue. So we'll see you in the next video.